Martha, how you doing?
Good. I'm doing just fine. Let's start with this AP issue. I heard you earlier this morning saying that you're not sure it's a big deal.
No, I argued with Miss Laura on Fox and Friends. She called it a scandal. It's not a scandal yet. Holder has a press conference coming up in a couple hours. And what usually happens in these kinds of things is there's a CIA operation or covert operation, all right? And a news agency gets wind of it. So the Justice Department goes in to try to find out who the leak is, you know? And they've done this since George Washington. This happens all the time. And Congress and the Supreme Court have allowed them to do it. So let's just wait and see what this is.
But clearly there's something that needs to be investigated, because there's other ways to go after a journalist and say, we think there's a national security interest in understanding how you knew about this bomb attack that was thwarted, right?
Remember WikiLeaks, Bradley Manning, the sergeant? They want to find out if there's a mole, they being the Justice Department, inside the CIA or the NSA or any of these intelligence outfits, and that's the easiest for them to do it. Now, as a reporter, I don't like it. But again, the Supreme Court ruled they could do it. So let's see where it goes.
Well, let's see if the Supreme Court upholds the reason that they did it in this case. That's what we don't know yet.
It has to, Holder has to come out and say, we did X and here's why we did it. Yeah. Is he going to do that? Probably not. And then you can start to hammer him. But let's wait and see what he says.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about whether or not there is a Watergate comparison here when you look at all of these things on the plate. And I think everybody would agree, and I imagine you would, that we don't know if we can draw that kind of comparison yet.
No,
but there are some similarities in terms of the elements that first started to bubble in those cases.
The reportage is similar to Watergate. I think you can make that conclusion, because you have to just squeeze the Obama administration for anything. It's so absurd. It's so ridiculous. You guys messed up, okay? Number one. So the president should say, we didn't provide security for our people in Libya the way we should have. Everyone knows that. All right, except the people at MSNBC. But everyone else in the world knows
who are starting to realize it now.
I don't
think it's a big story.
They'll never realize it, but it doesn't matter because no one watches them. All right? So, yes, you screwed it up, okay? Just say it. Yeah. Say it. Number two, you sent out Ambassador Rice to mislead the world. Who did that? Who exactly? That's what I had to pound Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America today. Who did it? Tell us. That's all. Those are simple questions. As you know, I'm a simple man.
You know, one thing that I don't understand, you're reelected. You're in your second term. You're not going to run for office ever again. You have every ability to sort of take the higher ground and to say, you know what,
lead the nation, tamp it down, take the hit. Right.
So
but the
why
reason
not
they did this
take
in the
that
first
high
place,
road?
But here's why he doesn't want to do it. Because the reason they did that in the first place is because of the election. They didn't want to admit they had poor security, and they didn't want to admit that there was a full-blown terror attack because they might hurt President Obama's re-election chances. That's why they did.
Then you have to right the wrong afterwards and say there were things we didn't know. I know. You have to accept that in order to do it.
President Obama doesn't want to admit that, and that's the crux of the story.
Yeah. What about in terms of this IRS situation? Concerned about that?
Am I concerned about it? Of course. The IRS takes an abuse of power to a level that's unacceptable. But again, does President Obama call them up and say, you give the Tea Party and other conservative groups a hard time? Probably he doesn't do that because that's insane. Maybe he did, and if he did, he'll be impeached. All right? But you can't connect it right to him without gross speculation. That's what I'm trying to get across. Conservative commentators provide cover for Barack Obama when they go further than the facts take them, when they speculate. Because then the president can come back and say, see, it's just these right-wing guys and Republicans. There's really nothing here. Stay in the fact zone.
Absolutely. But I think that's what, I think that's what we've been doing. I mean, when you look at Fox's coverage of Benghazi, we've been establishing the facts from the get-go.
I'm sure we're going to get a Pulitzer Prize.
I'm sure we are,
and you and I will go into Oslo, Norway, and, Calvin O'Reilly, and we'll bring Els, the boss, and we'll accept the Pulitzer Prize for reporting on Benghazi, because we're the only ones who did it.
I think there might be some other people who might want to be on the stage for that one.
We'll see. We'll take applications.
But I mean, when you build the story and you go, and when you look at the Watergate investigation, and the only reason I bring it up is because we've been accused of relentless reporting on this issue and not letting go of it, and that's what happened in the Watergate investigation. There were relentless reporters who would not let it go, and the administration clearly wanted them to let it go.
Answers to your questions.
And that is what is going on, and we'll
see.
And I know you'll be doing that tonight, but I want to